Morning, students. Myself, Mrs. Pushpa Ghosh. Today, I am going to explain you the summary of an poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. Before going through the summary, let's see about the author, the poet, to know about the poet, the theme, the form, in which form the poet has been written, message, what the poet wanted to give the message through this poet, and the background of the poem. Let's know about the poet. The poet name is Sir Stephen Harold Spender. He was born on 28 February 1909 and died on 16 July 1995. Was an English poet, novelist, and essayist who concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle. Who concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle through his work. He was appointed the 17th Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the United States Library of Congress in 1965. Let's see the theme of the poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. The poem touches upon themes of social injustice and class inequality. It questions the value of education in a slum. It exposes the widespread neglect of these children who are uncared for, like ruthless weeds. It gives the reader a description of malnourished children with pale faces, stunted growth, and twisted bones. But the poem does not dwell upon pessimism. It highlights the role of the educators and the more privileged in society to liberate the children and infuse them with human creativity. Let's see the form of the poem. The poem is written in a very simple style with the use of poetic devices and images which convey the narrator's feeling of sympathy and anger. The images convey the poverty, hunger, and neglect of state schools in the slum. Now we'll come to know what the message the poet wanted to give through this poem. The poem appeals to the rulers, the law enforcing bodies, and the philanthropist represented by the governor, inspector, visitor to improve the condition of the children in the slums, which can be done through education. The poem ends on an optimistic note as with the message that there are solutions to this problem and the condition of these children can be improved. The poem raises concerns like sensitivity towards the underprivileged, equity, equality, awareness, philanthropy, optimism, determination, and the need to change the condition of these children, the children of the slum. Now let's see the background of the poem. Written in 1964, the poem is an example of Spender's political voice resonating in a poem. He expresses his ideological position on government, economics, and education. The students in this classroom are underprivileged and malnourished. The capitalist government is supposed to supply equal opportunity for education, but the classroom in the slum offers little hope for change or progress. Spender names no nation or race. It appears to be a response to the global question concerning social injustice, which was an essential issue at the time of American civil rights. Throughout the poem, the poet's tone changes from pensive to belligerent and finally from frustration to an appeal. Now, we will do the summary of the poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. The children in an elementary school of a slum have faces which are very different from those of other children. They are not exuberant and full of energy. They are very far, far from gusty waves. Their faces are like weeds in a garden, like rootless weeds. It's a simile. They are rootless, unsure, and lack stability. Their hair is unkempt around their pale faces. The gusty waves symbolize the energy that is missing in these children. The poet expands on the theme of miserable existence of the slum dwellers, children, by listing out some of the typical children who can be found in these schools. First is the tall girl who is physically and emotionally exhausted. Her head hangs down in exhaustion. All life has been dredged from her body and sapped from her mind. The children are underdeveloped and live almost like rodents. Another child is a very sick and lean boy who has red eyes, symbolizing that he is defensive and scared like a rodent. His prospect for survival, let alone success, seem bleak. The red eyes also refers to the searching eyes of a boy who appears to be looking for food, acceptance, and love. These children are underdeveloped, and some of them have inherited their diseased bone from their parents. This implies that diseased generation, that is, father's general disease, have been living in the slum. A child who is disfigured and trapped in a physically challenged body, unlucky hair of twisted bones, is another child attending the elementary school in a slum. The classrooms are equally dim and pathetic. There is a child who is sweet and young, but his eyes lives in a dream. On one hand, it could mean the boy wants to get out as he's bored and distracted, or that he is mentally challenged and lives in a world of dream, far from the dark reality of his present. The child's desire is to be playing with or watching the squirrels playing in a hollow tree. The tree room is symbolic of a cramped hole in which the children live. The squirrel, in contrast, is free. The first stanza evokes pity and empathy, reflecting the pathetic and miserable existence of slum children. There is despondency and pessimism in the first and second stanza, but hope and optimism in the last two stanza. The wall of classroom are off-white or yellowish, sour cream in color. This dull color echoes the miserable situation of the children and underlines the neglect in their life. The walls are decorated with pictures of Shakespeare head, dooms of the institution of the civilized world, charts of the alpine valleys, etc. The life of the slum children is far removed from all that which is represented in maps, books, and picture, and only highlight the pathetic nature of their condition. Open-handed maps suggest the map drawn by powerful people and awarding the world its words suggest how the world is determined by the powerful leader. The poet thus hint the two worlds. Yes, the two worlds. One world, the world of poverty, misery, which is represented in the slum, which is contrasted with the world of progress and prosperity. That is the world of rich, which is shown on the pictures and the chart which is hung on the wall of the classroom. This world is far away from the life of these children, and the world which has been represented in the map or in the chart, the children of the slum cannot relate with them. Sadly, the world that these children are familiar with is the world of stinking slums, a world that belongs to poverty-stricken, ill-fed, and undernourished children. These windows, the window which is the poet is talking about of the slum classroom, reflect the world exposed on map as well as window of the classroom that open out to the dark and dingy world that they live in. Education, which has the ability to open doors and windows to the other world, has failed in this poem. because the children are not able to liberate themselves physically and intellectually from their restricted and impoverished existence. Their world is surrounded by the heaps of dust and garbage. The dirty windows, figuratively and relatively, are their world. The fog of uncertainty dominates their future. They are condemned to live in narrow street, that is, a life which is restricted to them, which do not lead them to better future. Their world, the society which they are living, there is no landscape having rivers or lake. All the symbol of positivity mentioned in the second stanza, that is the cloudless dawn, belt, flowery, tireless valley, are far removed from the life of these children. In fact, these the children's future of the slum appears to be bleak, painted with fog, and covered with the lead sky, that is covered with the dust and smokes which is coming out from the industries. Next, the poet questions the intelligence of these children who have been exposed to Shakespeare's, and why the Shakespeare has been termed wicked, because Shakespeare talks of the world of kings and noble men, which is far removed from their mundane, dismal life. Similarly, the map shows a world which is not theirs. The beautiful world which is shown on the map, these children, the map is not their world. Therefore, poet is calling map a bad example, as it is tempting the children with the ideas of escape from this miserable world of slum, with lead sky to a sun-filled world, and a love for life rather than an existence full of dreadness and poverty. According to the poet, it raises false hope in the children. It is cruel, yes. When the children see these maps, when they see the beautiful landscape which is hung in the classroom wall, it love tempt them to explore this place. But the poet is saying it's cruel because these children who are studying in a slum school, they will not have any access to these places, no beautiful places. These false hope encourage them to restore to illegal and criminal means to achieve the good things in life. In the third stanza, the poet talks about their slag heap, which represents several things. At one level, they refer to the waste left by industry, garbage. It refers to the children who are like the waste or the unwanted section of the society, and also to the slums in which they live and which are ugly, unwanted part of city or a town. The face, wearing spectacles of steel, is a symbol of industrialization in which they all doomed, condemned to live. They wear spectacles with Mendes glass, which look like piece of broken bottles on stone. Stone also reflect the expression on their faces. This image highlights their impoverished existence, means they are simply living and dragging their life. There is no meaning of existence, a happy existence. Their existence is restricted to the foggy slum. Foggy is a symbolic of ignorance. Fate has charted out a bleak path as the future hold no promise for them. Because poet is saying that even after completing the elementary school, clear, they will remain same. Their life will not change, not even an inch. Their life is an endless fog till they die. Yes, they are born in a slum. They are going to spend their life in a slum and they will die in a slum. Even the elementary education which is being imparted to them will be of no use because it is not going to change their present condition. The map of the future are already blotted with gloom and doom. The last stanza Is right now the poet has talked only about the pessimism, but in the last stanza, the poet is talking about optimism that yes, indeed, the life of the slum children could change. And how it could change, the poet is saying there is a touch of magic in its wider contonations. It is an appeal to the governor, teacher, inspector, and visitor to transport the unfortunate children beyond the dark boundaries of today into the possibilities of tomorrow. Otherwise, these classrooms will become like tomb, catacomb, burying these children in the dark confine of slum forever. Therefore, only these people, which people? The rich people, the government, the visitor, lend a helping hand. Can the lives of children be magically released from bondage? It is an appeal to these eminent people, well known people, to rescue the poor and oppressed from the tomb of class discrimination and to show them the beauty of the world. This map referred to the world of prosperity. The windows refer to the slum. The children will be able to peep through window only when the difference between the two worlds is bridged. The two worlds the poet is talking about, the world of slum and the world of the rich people. And the poet is saying when the bridge, the gap between the slum world and the rich world, when this gap is filled, then only the life of the slum children would be changed. The poet desperately warned the children to break out of this catacomb. They should come out to the green fields and breathe in the open air so that they can grow unrestricted and liberated and be creative. The poet imagines the liberated children running on the gold sand, delving into the books and exploring the realm of knowledge. The white represented the printed word and the green the natural world, which both contribute in educating the child. This will be truly liberating and lead to creativity. According to the poet, only those people create history whose language has the warmth of the sun, that is, who have clarity of vision, power of life, and brightness and hope. Thus, the poem ends on an optimistic note, symbolizing the freedom of children from their death like existence through education and social transformation. I hope the poem is clear to you. The summary of the poem is clear to you. Thank you very much.